He got some little legs and some big ass trunk.
Hello and welcome back to Our 3 Cents, your favorite podcast on the internet and mine. I'm Bailey.
I'm Laura.
No, I'm Molly.
Ladies, how have we been?
I'm tired.
Oh,
Same.
why are you tired? How's your back? Did that ever get better?
I mean, it's still, we're working with it. We're working
Alright, alright. Cool.
We're recording on a different night.
Sunday night.
And I don't know what about recording the day before the week starts is like taking it out of me.
Well, you're exhausted thinking about all the work you have to do this week.
The Sunday scaries are too real.
Yeah, I got those. I got them. Me and them are tight.
Yes.
How about you? How's your job?
It's going well. I mean, it's going... Nothing's bad, except I'm often bored just because they don't have a lot for me to do right this second. Mostly I just, like, look around on the internet and try to come up with, like, products we can make to advertise our product, since it's, like, a crafting kind of thing.
So you're actually working?
Yeah, kind of. Mostly. It's just, like, it's not an 8-hour thing I need to do. I have gotten to work on, like, a couple videos. Like, they had a live stream when they were at CES, this, like, technology conference. So I cut, like, that down from an hour to, like, a minute and 30 seconds or something. So it'd be, like, manageable for them to show other people.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then they had a couple of ads already that they wanted me to cut down to just 15 seconds for, like, social media. So I did that.
That's fun.
Yeah. But other than that, it's just, like, a lot of, like... brainstorming, try to plan things.
Do you use your own computer, or do they provide you with one?
Yeah, I bring mine. Yeah.
Do you like your coworkers?
Yeah, we don't talk a lot, and there's only like 2 to 3 of them, but yeah. Yeah, but it's going well. Hours are
when do you eat dinner?
Fine, from 5 to 6.
It's like rush hour time.
I know.
It's a terrible time to be out in the world.
Yeah, they're not like super bad, though I think they're more like annoying than anything. Like having to get dinner at rush hour, not being able to do things at the evening.
Do you have to take a dinner break at that time, or is that just when everybody else does it?
That's when everybody else does it. I guess I could go later, but I wouldn't want to go any earlier, because I'd get hungry.
I agree. I like going super late for my lunch break. Like, I go like at 1:30 or 2.
You said that. I like going right in the middle, because I don't want to sit there for 6 hours.
Do y'all
waiting? I feel like the first part of the day goes by faster, I guess. Well, it doesn't go by faster, but like, I like going as long as possible, so that way whenever I come back from lunch...
it definitely goes slower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, because, like, the other week I went to go lunch with my coworker, and she wanted to go at noon. And so I got back at 1, and it was awful. Like, it was, like, the longest afternoon ever.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all ever bring your lunch, or do you always go out?
I bring my lunch, and then I go sit in my car.
The best.
I haven't brought my lunch for this yet. I tried to bring it, like, once or twice at the old place, but, like, no one really did that. Everyone, like... left. I guess I never tried just eating in my car for bringing my lunch, but
I can't stay in the office all day long.
In the office too much.
I like to sit in my car while I eat and listen to a podcast.
Same.
How's your new job gone, Molly?
It's great. I keep
It doesn't sound like it from that tone.
It's harder than my last job for sure.
Well, that's good. It's not bad.
Yeah, be challenged.
Right, yeah, and I'm just thinking, like, into the future, like, what I'll be doing at this job and stuff, like, and am I going to enjoy it? It's hard to tell right now because I don't do as much, like, I'm still, learning things, but it's good. Everybody's super nice to me, which apparently is, like, a normal thing.
Who would have thought?
Oh, goodness.
But, and, like, anytime somebody...
Did you say what your friend said to you about your job?
Yeah, or is that too deep?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told my friend Omar about my new job, and he said talking to you about your work environment is like talking to somebody in, like, the 1900s about an elevator. You just press a button and you go to a different floor.
It's so funny because it's so true. Like, yes, I love it.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like when people tell me how to do something, they're like, "This is how I do it." They're like, "You might have another way, and you might learn that way eventually. But for now, let's just do it this way. And if you find an easier way or a better way for you, then by all means do it." Again, like what?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I have free control over my, like, systems? What?
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's good. I went to my Frisbee tryout today.
How did you do?
I was okay. I was super nervous. I have to stop talking myself down. Like I tell everybody I'm a very bad player.
Yeah, stop doing that. You have like 6 Frisbee years of experience.
I
And
do
you're
that.
really good. Everybody that we talk to says you're good.
Yeah.
I do that because I don't want people talking about me behind my back. So like I don't want them to think that like I think I'm this like really good Frisbee player and
Set the tone. I know I'm bad.
Exactly.
You can't talk about me like I don't know. 'Cause I know. I knew before you knew that I was bad.
Exactly.
That's not healthy.
I know. And then I was playing with a bunch of people who were like really good. So that was also nerve-wracking. But it was
Maybe
fun.
thought that they were playing with someone who was really good.
Yeah, that's true.
And you held your own, which means that you were also really good.
I did hold my own. I just wasn't as active as I wanted to be. Like I still caught the disc and threw it and yada yada yada, but
and that's how you play Ultimate
That's how you play Frisbee.
But I didn't do it as much. But I guess it was still good considering like I thought I was playing with really good people. For me to catch the disc and be able to throw it.
Again, the 2 Frisbee points that you need to do.
How to play Ultimate Frisbee. A how-to guide. 1, catch. 2, throw. And Molly's got it down, so she's great!
Exactly.
When do you find out, like, the results, I guess?
It was more of like a like, it wasn't like a real tryout. It was just for like you to get to see like all the other teams, and they'll send us out like interest forms to fill out for each team. And like I guess if like a team really likes you and like really wants you, they'll email you and tell you to like come to their tryouts. But like it wasn't a tryout like where I'll find out if I made a team or not. Like like all the teams there have their own individual tryout dates.
Was this the combine thing?
Yes.
I just want you to know I had never heard that as a sports term. So last week when you were talking about like combine versus Columbine, and we were like, don't talk about Columbine, in my head I was still like, but why is she talking about tractors?
You never heard of the NFL Combine?
No, and when I looked it up, that's what I was bringing. I was like,
yeah,
okay, it's a thing.
That's like
Molly's
the most common thing is the NFL Combine.
But like other sports
I'm from the South, so I'd argue against that. But I thought you meant like y'all were just going to like an open field to practice.
There may be tractors nearby.
Yeah, and there were like tractors there. I was like, okay, you know, Frisbee, you need a lot of room, so.
That's funny. I don't even know what a tractor combine is.
It's just one of those big machines that they have.
It's a big one that you see on the roads.
Yeah. It chops plants.
Dictionary lesson for the day.
Think you, yeah. If anyone else was wondering why Molly...
the hell we're talking about tractors?
Tractors.
We all are from the South, so...
Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel, you know... The NFL is not around this area. Fields and tractors however.
But yeah, but there are athletes around this area that go to the NFL Combine.
Molly, how many athletes do you think I know?
I would assume you knew the Mississippi State ones.
I've never...
Name 2 Mississippi players that went to the NFL.
Dak.
And?
That blonde guy with the long hair.
I need a name.
Oh, you're not going to get a name.
There we go. She gets a pass.
Athletes I know in real life. My brother, my sister, Molly, Laura's sister. My dad plays golf and is good at it, apparently. That's a sport, right?
Only one of those people have gone to a combine.
That's true.
So look at that. You're better than all of the athletes Bailey knows.
Yeah, you are.
Wow.
You're the most professional athlete I know.
That's
High
impressive.
marks. High marks.
Hi, Marks.
And she knows your name, unlike
That's
the
true.
long-haired blonde boy.
That's true. Do you know who I'm talking about, though?
Dylan Day.
Yes. Yeah. That is. Yeah.
Who does he play for?
He was a practice dummy for the Broncos.
Oh. Yeah.
Look, he made a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
yeah.
But no, he didn't even dress out.
Is he still on the team?
I think he
I
may
just thought
have
that was
gotten
while we were in college.
traded.
Uh-huh.
But for the last that I know of him, he was still with the Broncos.
Okay. Cool.
And then Dax. That's not that child's name. Dak is at the
Did
Cowboys.
you call him Dax?
Yeah, I was-
Did I call him Dax or did I say Dax?
I don't remember.
Okay. I hope I said Dax.
He's with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, uh-huh.
That was fun.
Should we
I would like to
introduce-
reiterate that that's the type of conversation we had that spurred starting this podcast. Like our just pointless rambling about random things we don't understand.
Well, hey, speaking about pointless ramblings about random things we don't understand, what did you want to talk about this week, Laura? Is that what we were starting with? Or did you want to end with that?
I don't care.
Oh.
Way to put me on the spot though.
Sorry.
So I listened to that My Favorite Murder podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a segment on, they do like 2 days a week that they release, and one of the episodes.
They make a podcast 2 days a week.
Yeah. One of the segments is hometown murders, and so people write in, and it's like, it started out like what it says, hometown murders. So you would write in and be like, this murder happened in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Here's some details.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy, shook the town,
Mhm.
whatever. And it was like gory details from like a close person, 7
Yeah.
like degrees of relation or whatever that's called.
What if they did a crossover between The Bachelor and My Favorite Murder? Where
Oh,
for the hometown dates they had to like go solve a local crime or something.
No one would be able to do it. But so they did. That's how it started, and then people started writing in like, "This isn't a hometown, but I'm a first responder and I've seen this crazy shit," or "This isn't a hometown, but it's weird," and so it's just like weird shit. And so eventually it got around to like it's an all-encompassing write us about your like strange happenings.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one girl wrote in that she was with her like sister, mom, babysitter, somebody like older than her.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the park, and there was a guy, and he looked strange, but they didn't think anything of it because it was in like the 80s or something, and nobody cared.
And there was no crime yet in the 80s.
And then he left or something, and they were playing in the park still, and she went over to this tree and was playing under this tree, like playing hide and go seek or something, and she found a duffel bag, and it had like over $100,000 in it. And she was like, we didn't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest of the story was like, it was found out that it was like drug money or mafia money or something. And it was like this big scandal in their hometown, and she had found it, and it was, and all she could ask whoever was with her was, did we get to keep the money? Like, is that my money?
Yeah.
And so my question to these two people is, if you found $100,000 or more, when I asked Sam this question, I said $100,000 or $1 million, like to up the stakes.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you found $100,000 in an unmarked suitcase or duffel bag or like either like thrown, like it was like somebody was being chased and they threw it, or it was like hidden, like it was like noticeably hidden? What would you do?
I mean, as much as I would love to keep $1 million and could definitely
Start with
find
100,000.
100,000. Answer's going to be the same.
Got it.
For but you'll see the reasons. I would definitely, I think, call like the police and say like, hey, I found this, because
Hypothetically, if I found $100,000, what'd you do? Oh, good. I didn't find that. Glad I didn't.
Because so. Think of the crimes that this money could come from. If it's drug money, there could be like drug residue on the money. And so like I don't want them thinking I was involved with that if I like pick it up and I'm searching through it or something. Or, you know, sometimes in bank robberies, they'll have that ink that explodes on you. So I don't want anybody thinking that I stole this money. So I don't want to touch it and be involved in possibly being a suspect.
So you would call the cops?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Molly?
I guess I would do the same thing. I don't want to... I would keep it 100% if I knew for a fact it wouldn't never trace back to me. Like if there were like no, like if I bought something the next day, nobody would ever look at the money twice, thinking like, is this stolen money? Like if there was no like markings, ink, whatever, I would 100% keep it. But like if there was any doubt that like I could get caught with it and like somehow get blamed for something I didn't do, then yeah, I guess I would turn it back in.
Even if it was $1 million?
Yeah.
So
Molly, are you more willing to commit a crime if it's $1 million?
She could keep $100,000 of the million and just be like, "This is all I found."
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
I was about to say.
That's
I think I would keep some of it and and turn the rest of it in, see what happens, and then be like, and if it's like, oh, good thing you didn't spend this because it's got this, this, and this. I'd be like, oh, wait a second, I found more money.
I went back and I found more.
Well, that's the suspicious problem. So if we're using like the bank robbery example, whatever. Say I found this in Memphis. I call the Memphis police and it's $1 million and I took like 500,000 of it. And I said, hey, I found this duffel bag that has $500,000 in it. And they come and investigate and they're like, okay, great that you found this. The bank was robbed for $1 million. So where's the other half? Do you know anything about that? Yeah. And like, so now I'm being interrogated by the cops. Yeah.
So I had, while listening to My Favorite Murder, I think at some point I heard, and this could be completely false, and Bailey can fact check as I'm speaking.
Oh, okay.
But like, I think there's like a law that says if you bring something in that they can't pinpoint on a crime, like an inanimate object like sunglasses, or like if you treat the police station like a lost and found, but you say like, hey, I found this iPhone, or I found this Rolex, like something like of value, and you bring it in and say, I'd like to turn this in, there's like a window of time that like if nobody claims it or it's not
involved in a crime
and they can't figure that out, then it's yours, and you just write it into the like, not the evidence logger, but like a place at the police station, and you say, I would like to be contacted if it's not claimed or found to be involved in nefarious activities, and so I feel like My Favorite Murder has talked about if it's the same way with money, or if there's like a cap on how much you can get back, because like I guess it would go to the state, but like the police aren't like, you know, waiting around being like, I want it, like the different police officers at the police station,
and like $1 million they probably would.
For like illegal substances, sure, like weed, you obviously can't go back and
right, they're not gonna give that back,
or like a gun or like a weapon of some sort, probably not. But like, is money different than an inanimate object where like I'm turning in this much money, if it's not claimed I would like it back? Like, who makes that decision if it's actually a thing? So that was my plan. I was gonna turn it in and be like, but there's a loophole, right? Because I want it back. I'm doing the right thing. And then I was in my head like, I turn it in, it was like a little old lady who dropped her purse with $100,000 in it, and when she got it back, she asks, who gave this to you? And then they find me and she gives me money, because I turned her money in.
Right.
So that was my thinking, was that good karma was going to come out, or they weren't going to claim it, or whatever. And so I asked Sam this, and it really aggravates me that he's like smarter than I am. But he was like, so there's nothing illegal, which is true, about picking up money. Like if you found $20 or $100 or however much money on the side of the road, or but like beside an ATM or whatever, it's not illegal to pick it up and take it. Like, it's on your conscience whether you turn it in or you try to find its rightful owner. That's with you and your conscience. But legally, there's nothing like per the law that stops you from picking it up.
Not according to criminaldefenselawyer.com, Samuel.
Picking it up is illegal?
Not picking it up, but like not. So it said this, and again, just one website. criminaldefenselawyer.com, not necessarily reliable, but it's saying many communities have, it depends on where you are probably, they have local laws or ordinances governing what you must do if you find cash. The laws usually require that a person who finds money, especially larger amounts, turn it over to the local police, and if no one claims it after a certain period of time, the police can then give it to the finder to keep.
See, okay,
so that
win.
is.
So take out the part where I said he was smarter than me because I win.
I mean, I'm leaving it in, but I'll let them know that you win.
Anyways, but so he said that there's not anything illegal about picking up money that you found on the side of the road, and I guess depending on where you are, it's not. So he would pick it up, and then if it came to light that like it was used in a crime or something, he thinks that it would be easy to like prove that he wasn't involved
in the crime. Yeah,
because like if it was a bank robbery, all banks have like 1 million cameras, and it's like he was like, okay, so it's got to be a white guy with my exact build that robbed a bank for it to be even plausible. So like it has to be perfect for somebody to think it's him. And then in like a drug thing, that's simple. Just bring like
drug test them or something.
Drug test him
Sniff
and
your
then like
house.
bringing dogs for the house and the cars.
Yeah.
And then like mafia stuff. I don't think it's happening here. But so there's just like easy ways to prove that you weren't involved and that you really did just find it and that you're a human and you picked it up and you were like, look, this is my money now. And then I was like, well, what about the instance of D.B. Cooper? Because that's the guy who hijacked the plane and he had gotten like a very specific amount of very specific bills. And before they gave him the money, they like documented all the serial numbers.
Right.
And then none of those serial numbers were ever put back into rotation. And then they would have been able to track, and that was like in the 70s. So like now, I can't imagine how like strict they are. Sam said he would go straight to the bank, and that as you're like depositing, if they flagged it and they were like, "Excuse me, sir, will you accompany us into the back room because this money's been flagged?" Then it would be like, "Okay, well I didn't
do it,
so blah blah blah."
Right. If I just stole it from a bank, why would I take it to the bank?
Yeah, because it would obviously be flagged. Because all serial numbers are now. But it's interesting to think about.
It is.
I just really want to find $1 million, take it to the bank, hand it over, give it back.
Right now I'm reading this story from Metro, this UK news website, about a woman who found 20 pounds and she got arrested or like in trouble. Oh no, I accidentally clicked an ad. Well, we may never know what happens. You know, I hate those ads that just come up on your phone and you can't get rid of them. Ugh. Hang on.
My friend found $20 one time and he felt guilty taking it. But like he just found it on the side of the street, like by his house. And he's like, I think it might be my neighbor's. And I'm like, but you don't know that for a fact. And he's like, it's literally laying randomly in a spot. Like, it's not by the driveway. It's just, like, randomly on the street. And I'm like, okay, then. You can't prove that's anybody. Just take the money.
Smaller bills, I think it would even be harder. Because it's, like, even, like, $100. It'd be, like, if you're, like, walking down the street, like, in Memphis or in Atlanta or, like, in a walking town, and you look down and you see $100, it's like, what do you pick it up and then just wave it around? Anybody lost $100? Everybody!
Well... You have to ask if they lost money. You don't.
Well, yeah, but like
they have to tell you.
But then
how
it's
much.
like I don't know. It's just.
But yeah, I would also feel guilty though.
That's just
that
like
would be
hard to find the owner.
Well, see, no, I think you only feel guilty if like you're like, let's say you're kind of like watching the ground as you walk and you see like money fly in your direction. Then like that's more of a like, okay, someone just dropped this. Let me try to find it. But if you like see it from a distance and it's there, it's been there. Then like by that point, like you're not gonna find the owner, and they're not gonna find it. Like, they're not gonna think like, where did I drop this money? They're not gonna have any.
Retrace all my steps.
Yeah, like I guarantee you, they won't even know. Like if they have more cash in their wallet, they probably won't even notice they dropped it.
Yeah, because that would be my problem. If somebody asked if I dropped money, I would have to dig in my purse.
You're like, yeah, I don't know, probably.
Have you met me? I would have to dig in my purse, get my wallet out, count my money, and then think, did I have money in here? And if I did, how much was it? Because, like, the other day, we were going through a drive-thru, and it was $20. It was, like, around $20. And in my head, I was like, I think I might have a $20. I had $2. So, like, unbeknownst to me, I may have dropped $100. Who knows what's in my wallet at what time?
So it sounds like,
Did this lady go to jail?
I don't know if it's been decided. Hang on.
Are you serious? It's $20.
So, £20.
That's about $20.
I know. This was in 2017, and again, in the UK. So,
Snooty pantses.
what she would have broken was a crime known as theft by finding, which means that if you find a wad of cash on the street...
Is this a law for finders, keepers, losers, weepers?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And don't try to return it to its owner by handing it into the shop, for example, or the police, you're guilty of theft. And it says, what if there's no way to know where it came from? It says that's where it gets more complicated. So, under the Theft Act of 1968, again, UK, not here, a person is guilty of theft if they dishonestly appropriate property, including cash, belonging to another. So lost property will continue to belong to another unless it has been genuinely abandoned by the owner. The fact that cash has been dropped in the street does not necessarily mean it has been abandoned. So this was from like a lawyer or somebody, I guess, talking. However, he adds that in the end, it's down to whether you could reasonably believe the owner of the cash was untraceable, or if you had already taken reasonable steps to find them, such as going to the police.
Why couldn't she have just said, I looked around?
A barrister with somewhere told them, presumably she realized that the money was someone else's, but had decided to keep the money for herself. In that event, her guilt or innocence depends solely upon her own belief as to whether keeping the money was wrong. If she had formed the impression in her own mind that an ordinary, honest citizen would consider her act to be dishonest, then she would be guilty of theft. If she was not of such a belief, then her actions would not be dishonest, and she would not be guilty.
Queen. Only opinion I trust.
What kind of punishment can you expect if you're found guilty? It depends on the circumstances. Nicole was given a conditional discharge, but was ordered to pay a hefty £175 in costs and charges.
Can you imagine if they found somehow the person who lost his $20 was like, would you like to press charges? Like, because of £20. £20.
Oh, okay. Here's another step. She did not just find it in the street, she found it inside a shop, which made things worse for her because she found in the shop there was a much greater chance of the original owner coming in to ask for it.
Sure.
So, moral of the story, if you find money in a duffel bag, it's probably trouble, and if you find any money on the ground in the UK, don't just walk away.
That's so strange that they have like such specific laws about you have to have made an effort to abandon it, so I'm guessing that like kind of means trash. Like,
yeah, I guess so.
But that in America is illegal. Like, you can't go through somebody's trash.
True.
So, like, I can throw away a perfectly good flat screen TV, and if somebody took it out of my trash, I could, like, file a lawsuit against them.
Yeah.
Another man's trash is not another man's treasure.
That's true. Finders is not keepers.
But you cannot even take $20 that are off the ground in the UK.
True.
That is interesting. Interesting.
See, aren't these the great, like, facts and insights you come to this podcast for?
Revolution really changed us.
We're like, no, we took this land, we are keeping it. It is ours, do not search in our trash can.
Don't get in our trash can, even if we throw away our land.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Well, that was fun.
It was fun. So, what did we decide? That we would all
take it back
to the police.
Take it to the cops.
Yeah.
Like, just to be safe.
And then maybe sounds like possibly there is
you might get it back.
You might get it back.
And if not, maybe you'll get back some.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'll just get some really good karma.
You'll get like a nice reward. Yeah. Good. Yeah, good karma at least. All right.
And scene.
All right. So our next topic comes to us from our dear friend Molly. Molly, do you want to just want to explain? Or do you want me to?
Sure.
Okay.
Like always, I saw this on Twitter, and, and I've seen it like a while, but once again, it just popped back up on my feed, and sometimes these things just really get me going. And it's whether or not spanking your child like affects them in the future.
Wait, is that what we're debating?
In a sense, yeah. I mean, like
I think we were talking
people.
Are we going to?
Oh,
people believe that if you spank your child, like, it has some, like, mental, like, repercussions, and it, like, promotes violence or something.
It does. They did a study.
Whereas I got spanked as a child. I think it's like finding a balance. Like, if you're like beating your kid, then yeah, I could see how that's bad. But like, my parents like didn't beat my ass. Like, they just
now
like.
wait, Molly. I want you to finish the sentence of how you were just about to say, I got spanked as a child and I'm fine.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes after you just said, I need to stop being so down on myself. I don't know.
That has nothing to do with me getting spanked as a child. Like, cause like, I don't think it's like whenever I guess people also don't spank their dogs. I was about to say, it's like spanking your dog.
Yeah, I don't like to spank my dog.
Literally.
Yeah.
You will be taken to jail.
You have to train them. I spanked my dogs whenever they were puppies.
You also hate your dogs, so I don't take that as a good argument.
I didn't hate them then.
Do you spank your cats?
Yep.
Have you spanked Luna?
Yeah, if she's really bad, if she's not listening to me, I will spank that little butt. Not hard, but
furry butt.
Because like you can yell at your kid. Like, I feel like yelling is so much worse. Like, I hate getting yelled at.
They're usually hand in hand.
Like,
I was gonna
to an extent.
Yeah,
I just feel like there's a right balance to spanking your kid. I don't think they cause issues.
So we have one for it, and so I'm taking that you're going to spank your kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have one for and says that it doesn't. I'm gonna assume that you're the opposition.
Yes, because let me start on facts and not just opinions. The American Academy of Pediatrics has strongly come out against corporal punishment, talking about the harmful effects.
Pause. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna sign the waiver thing for your kids to go to school for corporal punishment? Like, can a principal paddle them?
Sure.
Just yes or no. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Continue.
So, the American Academy of Pediatrics represents about 67,000 doctors.
American doctor?
Yes.
67,000?
The American Academy of Pediatrics.
I will push you off the bed. How many? 600,000 or
67,000?
Thank you. Okay.
Recommend that pediatricians advise parents against the use of spanking, which is defined as non-injurious, open-handed hitting with the intention of modifying child behavior, and to avoid non-physical punishment that is humiliating, scary, or threatening. So, like yelling.
Or posting your kids on social media. That's rude.
Yes. Different thing. In 2016 analysis of multiple studies, for example, found that children do not benefit from spanking. Certainly, you can get your child's attention, but is not an effective strategy to teach right from wrong, one doctor said. Recent studies have also shown that corporal punishment is associated with increased aggression and makes it more likely that children will be defiant in the future. Spanking alone is associated with outcomes similar to those of children who experience physical abuse, the new academy states. And this is from November 2018, so it is very recent. So, factually, no, it's pretty much recommended you should not spank your children, even if you don't think you're being abusive or not. Now, going off your personal opinion on if you were spanked and, you came out fine, which is what I feel like a lot of people on Twitter say, that's your own experience, but that does not mean that it is actually good for you.
Were you spanked?
I was only spanked one time because I was
only
a good child.
One time?
Yep, I got one spanking because I drew on a cabinet with some pencil. And then
nice pencil.
But I didn't get spanked for drawing on the cabinets. I got spanked for lying about it. I said that I did not do it. And I think
can't erase a lie.
I think, in fact, I blamed it on my mother.
But see,
writing on the cabinets.
You learned from that. That's the thing.
No, I'm not finished. My sister got multiple spankings. She has been spanked basically all of her life.
And that child is still so bad.
It has not.
I hope she's not in this house with a new child.
It has not curbed her behavioral problems at all. It's
it didn't really curb mine either. I still did bad things.
Exactly. So saying you're okay maybe is fine, but it didn't work.
So you got spanked. You got spanked, and you will continue. You got spanked
Well,
once, so not really.
I got spanked, but I
Yeah.
didn't do the same thing again. Like, I was just a dumb child, like I
You
am a
said
dumb
other bad
adult.
things.
I would do things, get spanked, wouldn't do that thing again. I would do something else, I'd get spanked, and then wouldn't do that again.
So do you really think it worked for you?
I mean, you can't treat dumb, but,
Okay. You can't treat dumb. Laura, go ahead with your opinion.
How would you spank? Were you like, was it like the hand or
hand or belt?
Or like a
it was
paddle
either a
or what?
hand or a wooden spoon with holes in it.
Oh yeah.
The younger siblings were always the ones like that came about in Mother
spank-
Talk
yeah, the
rooms, like
spanking spoon,
after
yeah.
our generation of being. So
Yes.
a
deep so.
I was spanked my entire childhood. Like
really, you were that bad?
I don't. Okay, so first child of my parents, first grandchild of any of the grandchildren.
Yeah, me too. First child does no wrong.
Okay, false.
Come on, Laura, don't ruin this for me.
So when I was born, I had colic, which is a newborn disease, illness.
You cry a lot.
You cry a lot because you have like what, acid reflux, like kind of the same thing.
I'm not sure that there's like a technical definition of colic, but
it's like adults get what the symptoms are.
Yeah.
But babies can't fix it for themselves.
So,
like,
yeah,
you can't
babies
give
just cry because something's wrong with them.
you can't give babies a Tums or whatever it is.
Right.
Anyway, so I had colic, so I was like that. And then I was also like being showered with affection from my grandparents.
Right.
And so there was that like very prominent spoiled aspect of my like early childhood. And then my parents were also young parents. Even like, I mean... Like, they were young. I cannot imagine myself, cannot imagine myself having a child right now. So they had me young, and they were also 7 hours away from both sets of my grandparents. So they were, like, doing it on their own, newborn baby, colic, some other problems. There was just issues. So,
wait, Laura, I'm sorry, real quick. Can you tell our podcast listeners how your parents tried to cure your colic?
The dryer?
Wait, what?
They sat me on the dryer and it like rocks you.
Gosh, that's not what I meant, but that's also great.
People still do that.
Was it colic when they took you to the seventh son of a seventh son?
Oh yeah, shit. Well, let's get to that in a minute.
Okay, yeah, keep going.
My parents were religious, and they used some different methods to try to treat my different ailments. So I had colic, right? And they tried to treat it, and they took me into the backwoods of Alabama, and they had to find a man who was the seventh son of a seventh son.
A shaman, a wizard.
Yes, and he lived in a shack. And
his
my
wizard
mother,
hut.
if ever hears this, she's gonna kill me. And my
people deserve to hear her shame.
Dad's parents were with them, and that's like they helped find this man. And it was my parents, my grandparents, and me as a baby. And they got to the shack, and she was walking, like my mom was walking in with me. The man took me and closed the door and was with me for however long. And when he came out, he said, "I spit in her mouth and she's fine."
No! I forgot. I didn't know what he did. Oh!
And then I was apparently fine. And my mom to this day will say, "I'll never do it. I would never say that I would do it again, but damn if I can't complain of the results." So thanks, Mom!
Oh my gosh.
So that was how they raised me. And so when we were still in the town that I was born in, 7 hours away from my grandparents, apparently I was so bad that they had to take different measures. So they went to a class called Raising Kids God's Way. The main point of the class was telling the parents to beat your children into submission.
Oh my gosh.
And from then on out, I was beaten into submission. It was like, yes. Like, that was my, like, I knew that if I did anything bad, I would get a spanking. And, like, I was the kid that was like, you don't want to wait until we get home and I talk to your father, because you know what'll happen then. And it's, like, shaped up. But it was, like, I don't want to paint my parents and, like, they beat me and abused me light. But, like, it was, I vividly remember some of these things happening. Like, it was just like it was harsh. And then this was on into like late elementary school, early elementary school. I'm not gonna put like a date on it, but I remember like being a kid and that being like, it was just like right there. Like we had a switch. Like my mother was not afraid to like stop on the side of the road and pick a switch off of a tree, and then yank me out of the car and spank me with it. My dad had a belt that I knew very well. And they always said the whole, like, this hurts you more than it hurts me. And I always had to tell him it was wrong.
No.
And then...
Flip that.
Yeah. What?
It's supposed to be, this hurts me more than it hurts you. But in reality, no, probably not.
And it was, like, I don't know. It was, and then I was always signed up for the corporal punishment and everything. I, for my whole life, thought that was how children were supposed to be raised. Like, I was like... what else were they supposed to do with me?
Right.
I was horrible. I was this awful child. I was defiant. I was obstinate. I never listened, and I did all these things wrong. And then I met other people who were like, yeah, I was bad too, and I got my toys taken away, or I got this happened, or this
time
happened.
Out.
And it was just as successful, and they don't have some of the problems that I have today. Not saying that directly correlating to my anxiety, separation issues, depression, whatever, is related to me being spanked, but I do know from the time that I've known this person, they don't have any of the issues that I have that I'm like, I don't know why I'm sad. Or, like, if somebody, like, ooh, this sounds bad, but if somebody raises their hand too quickly and I think that I'm in trouble, it's, like, a, like, reaction within my, like, memory of, like, this wasn't good however many years ago. This did not mean something good. And I will, like, unconsciously flinch, and I am 24. And they do not do that. And they do not have the problems that I have in, like... They know why they're sad, and they don't know why I don't, and they don't know why I get depressed or triggered over different things, and I don't know why I do it either, but they don't have the, like, even the empathy to feel that, because they don't have the problems, quote unquote. And I've met other people like that too, who think that spankings are just horrible and they're abuse and whatever, and they don't have problems either, and they were raised fine, and they're good people, and they like either were bad kids or weren't bad kids, and they all turned out fine. As a person who's now thinking about my future as a parent, I, like I said, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I wholeheartedly would have told you, yes, I'm going to spank my kids. I'm going to have a belt. My mom had a paddle. Bring out the wooden spoon. Grab a switch off the tree. Like, whatever we can do, whatever we can do. And as I've grown and seen different studies and seen different, like, talks and thought, like, deeply about what it could have done to my mental state or emotional state or whatever, I've kind of reined that in. Like, I guess for me, it's the hard line between what is abuse? Like, who's defining that? And is that a definable term per child? Like, because my sister was not spanked near as much as I was, but depending on who you asked, like, even depending on what parent, what grandparent you asked, I was better than my sister was better than me. And my parents had just kind of laid off spanking because my sister was a kid, and I only remember Amy getting spanked a handful of times. And I was there for her whole life, so I should know. And it was when she did really bad things. But I remember at me as a child, it was like very, in my opinion, minute things that it was like they were training in a way, like the behavior was like bad behavior spanks, bad behavior spanks, bad behavior. So it was like any bad behavior they saw, they were training in a way like you would a dog.
Which, by the way, that's not how you're supposed to train dogs either. Like, if you want to train them correctly. When we first got our dog, I was, looking up how to train him and stuff, and basically everything now says that is not really how they learn. Like, my dad has struck the fear into Obi, and yes, he does listen to him, but it is a very, like, fear-based thing.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm kind of coming from. It's like, I don't want, not that I feared my parents, or not that I don't love them, or, like, have any, like, disdain for them now, but as a kid, I won't say that I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I was scared sometimes, and I don't think that's how I want my kids to
feel about you.
And I'm not saying that me and Sam would do that, but I think in my head I can't determine the fine line between abuse and training.
Yeah.
And, like, I do think there is a difference. I will, like, say a difference in, like, a SWAT, like, to get your attention, and you are being punished, here is my belt, tell me what you did wrong, now turn around, do not flinch, do not cover yourself, I'm going to punish you. Yeah. And it being, like, a ritualistic...
Yeah, that's very... Yeah. When you explain it, it sounds very messed up.
Instead of, like, a small swat.
It's, like, psychological when it gets in your head.
Or, like, a small hit on the, like...
Yeah.
Like...
Like if they're about to grab a hot pan and you, like...
swat their hand. That doesn't actually hurt, but it gets their attention.
Right. And that's also protecting them from danger, not punishing them.
Yeah.
So...
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I think, I've seen some people make points about this, that it's weird that when it comes to children who are, like, the most vulnerable people in our society, we're like, oh yeah, it's fine to hit them. Like, we try to excuse it and say, oh, well, yes, we're spanking them, but not in an abusive way. Where, like, okay, so Laura, you know, I'm filming my phone, Laura takes it, she throws it on the ground. I'm not gonna spank Laura because she's an adult. But Laura should know better because Laura has a fully formed human brain. If my brother, even him, he's like 12 years old, ran in and threw my phone down, I'd be mad at him, but why should I spank him when his brain isn't even fully formed yet? So I think when you're spanking, you are teaching a lot of those, like, fear qualities, and then especially the younger they get, the less that they really do understand, even if you are trying to explain it to them. So I think that there needs to be more less physical communication, more just actual, like, spanking them isn't really teaching someone right from wrong. It's teaching them, I don't like you that you did this, don't do it again, or this bad thing's gonna happen. Not, hey, this is why you should not... This is why you can't just take your toy from your brother.
Well, and I'm super different from Molly, I feel like, because I vividly remember multiple occasions where I would do the same thing and, like, get spanked for it. Like, I remember, like, very vividly when I was a kid, I would get out of my bed and I would go to the living room and I would start doing something. And it happened so many times in one night, and it was just constant, like, she's doing it, we're spanking her, she's doing it, and it was the same, it wasn't like the next night, it was like, I am continually doing this during the same night, you are continually spanking me, it's obviously not working.
Right.
Figure something else out.
Yeah.
So, and that happened more than once. Like, that wasn't like a rare occurrence where Laura, tiny Laura, would, like, do something, get punished for it, do it again, get punished for it, do it again, get punished for it. And finally it was like somebody had to give, and it was either me or my parents. And because I'm a child who doesn't understand, and, like, might not have known why I was getting spanked or whatever, it was usually my parents who just gave up. And so eventually, like, in the end, it didn't even matter.
Right.
Because I still didn't get
You just got spanked a lot, but you still got what you wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I think it's everyone's experience as parents and as children is so different. I don't think...
And none of us are parents, so we can't explain what it's like to... Like, I have cats, you have a dog, Molly has a dog. Or a cat, sorry.
Yeah. We have animals, not children.
But, like...
Yeah.
Differences.
I was saying I don't think that it's a good enough reason to say, well, I was spanked and I'm okay, so I can do that to my children. Well, one, you don't know... You, as an adult, are looking back on how you think you felt as a child, but you're not necessarily remembering how you felt in the moment. Like, you're saying, in the moment, you felt worse about it than you do now. You don't know how you're really... The way you think you're approaching it may be worse than it actually is, and you don't know how your child's going to react.
We
And
also
again,
don't know how it affects us. I've never gone to a therapist and told her, hey, I think I have problems because I was spanked as a kid.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Right. But there is, like I said, research that does support that no, it doesn't help. It's one, it's not effective. And then two, it can leave like lasting like psychological damage or like mental health problems. So the only good reasons I've heard for it are, well, kids need to be punished. Well, okay, that doesn't have to include spanking, and I was spanked, so it's okay. Well, okay, other people were spanked and it's not okay. So like that, it doesn't work.
We didn't mean to shit on your subject.
No, I agree. You're making fair points.
Thank you.
It is one of the things I should get around to in therapy. I feel like I should talk about it.
Yeah.
I guess it's just something that like never, it didn't, like I haven't seen like actual side effects from me getting spanked as a child. So like I don't see. But
what if that would like, what if it was like your mental issues and your like why you need to go to therapy is because like some ways related to it?
Oh, then I'd be against it.
Well, there you go.
Go to therapy. Let's go together.
I've been to therapy.
Yeah.
Have you talked about being spanked?
No.
Me either. We can be blissfully ignorant, but that doesn't mean we're right.
Yeah, like you said, you can't fix again, Molly's words, not mine. You can't fix dumb. I mean, you can.
I would like to know, like, I would like to talk about it, but honestly, like, honesty hour, I have thought about it, and I don't want to bring it up in a therapy session because I don't want the therapist to be like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Oh, that explains... the worst thing somebody can say, that explains so
everything.
much.
Yeah. I get that.
And be like...
Yeah. Like, oh, no.
Oh, does it?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Because I can see it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think in our parents' generation, it was so popular that they see people our age as just being like too sensitive about it.
Well, there are self-help books, self-help parenting books, parenting books. My parents went to a fucking class that was like a Christian class taught in a church that told them, and so it's not even like we're saying, or I'm not, that my parents were wrong or that they should have known not to. Yeah. Because what other, like, I get it, but what other choice did they have?
Well, I was gonna say, even in our generation, I feel like it hasn't still fully permeated. And like I said, that article, I was seeing that there was some research from back in 2009, but that's still pretty recent. That article was just from last November. Not to excuse it, say like, oh, you didn't know, so that's fine, but I think it's something that should be talked about a lot more. So when you are a parent, you know, I understand you get it like your wit's end if you've just got like a crying child or you don't know what else to do. We need to teach better. But
that's the danger of that method. Yeah, is that you're a parent with an obstinate child. Yeah, who might be keeping you up at night, and you're working a full-time job. Yeah, all of which could happen and does happen every day with parents. You are at your wit's end when your job. You're at your wit's end because you haven't slept, and the person you're taking it out on is the person that's done something wrong. Like, the thought that I could lose control, because I know myself and I have on people that are bigger than me. Yeah. And thinking of having that control over a small child is terrifying. Yeah. To me, because I know what I've done to people that are adults. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't trust myself. Yeah. But like our parents, they had no other choice. Like, I'm not excusing it and saying that like, my therapy bills can be covered because I was a product of that generation. Okay, but they really didn't. Everybody was telling them. But even like the people that I know now that are our age who have had children, I know one person who's had a kid, and their aunt keeps and like their child is pretty bad, and she's just like does what she wants whenever she wants, and it's no fault of the parents. They're doing their best and they're doing everything they can. And her aunt asks her every time she says like a story about how bad the kid was, well, have you started beating her yet? Gosh, like using that verbiage.
I know people use like that terminology,
and it's like, no, I get it, but like, have you tried something else first? And I know they have, and so I can't imagine, because the kid's like 4 now, so I can't imagine how after 4 years of doing other things, and you're saying,
Yeah.
no, I haven't spanked her yet. It's like, okay, well, when do you get to your wits' end about this? Nothing else is working.
Yeah.
And that worked for some people,
Mm-hmm.
so why can't it work for me?
Yeah. I also feel like people who, I don't know how to put it, but, like, would be abusive people, like, would also use the same excuse, like, oh, it's just spanking. It's, you know, fine. Or, like, it's just physical punishment.
When
they
it
need
is
to
obvious
learn.
that it is abuse,
Right,
it'd be
too
like,
far.
how can you determine, who are you to tell me what to do with my own children?
Right.
This is just spanking, or it's just the same that you do, I'm just tougher, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, good point.
Yeah, thank you. So, Molly, now what do you think? Since Laura and I just kind of railed against it for a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I guess spanking can be a bad thing. I still think it's a case-by-case thing. But, maybe I won't spank my child. I guess there are other ways. Like, you can take their toys away, punish them in some other form. You're right, you don't have to spank them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As long as, like, there's an open dialogue about other forms of punishment.
Yeah.
And I think it's really funny because people that I'm close to have seen other forms of punishment and said that's too harsh. And in my head, as somebody who came from a spanking household, is like,
well, it's not
it's not spanking.
Yeah.
Like, there's a thing going around a while ago, years ago, that was like, if you leave your toys out, and, like, after the however many times I've told you to clean your room, everything else I'm going to go through and I'm going to bag up, and you pretend that you throw it away, or you actually throw it away, and they have to deal with the consequence of, like, now you don't have whatever was on the ground. Yeah. And so if that's one shoe, or like her brother has cleats right now, so if it was like one of those cleats was on the ground and you threw it away, too bad, so sad, you can go buy some more cleats with your allowance or whatever. Yeah. Because you only have one now, and, like, I've heard people say, well, that's just too harsh, that's taking their property, and it's like, really? Really?
I don't like that either.
Really, Linda? But comparatively,
oh, right, not the same thing. Yeah,
not the same.
No, I know what you're saying.
If most of the time it's not actually donating or giving away or throwing
right,
away,
you just
we put them in the attic for an amount of time, and then you bring them back out, and it's like right before the baseball game, and you're like, now what do you think? Yeah.
I think my mom did this. If you have, like, two kids fighting over a toy, the toy, like, gets put in timeout, which makes it sound like the toy's in trouble, but it's just like, okay, if you two are going to fight over this, then, you know, you don't get to play with it anymore. So, like, that's not how you play with other people, or you're not going to have anything to play with.
I saw a commercial, now that we're on the roll of how other options. I saw a commercial years ago, and it was, like, a dad coming in from work or, like, walking down a hall, and the kid was drawing on the wall, and the first scene was the dad, like, taking him by the arms and shaking him and yelling, and it was all like quiet, like, there was no words, but he was, like, shaking him, and, like, it was very forceful, and the kid started crying, and it was this whole, like, very intense scene, and then it switched to another scene, and it was the same scenario, but when he walked in, he was like, he knelt down and he got face to face, like, on his level, and talked to him about it, and was like, this isn't right, this isn't where we color, explaining the situation, and then giving a paper, and it was just, like, very simplistic way of, like, explaining how, like, one of those is divisive and doing one thing, and the other one is, like, don't, and, like, of course the kid can go color on the wall again, and you have to deal with that, but, like, in the moment,
make them help clean it. Eventually they'll get tired.
Yeah.
And not want to clean anymore, so they'll
maybe
stop.
more receptive to a for real talking to. Yeah. And it's kind of like that thing, like, you're not supposed to talk to kids, like, you're not supposed to talk to babies in a baby voice. Yeah. Because that's how they start talking, and so if you speak to them like you would to a normal person, they will pick up on that faster. So if you speak to a kid, if you punish a kid like you would punish an adult, or like you would speak to an adult during a punishment situation, or an older child, it will teach them that that's how punishment should work, and that this is dad getting mad at me. Like, not saying you can't ever be mad at your kids, or you can't ever yell at your kids, because, like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. But
also, a lot of times, if you punish your kids, they don't stop doing it, they just stop doing it where you know about it, which was also something I would see in, like, the like, dog raising things. Like, if you, like, you're not supposed to like rub
their nose in it.
Rub their nose in it anymore. If you do that, they're not going to learn to stop peeing in the house. They're just going to pee where you can't find it, so they don't get in trouble.
And then you're going to find, like, when we got our dog a while ago, it was like, they're going to do that, and then you're going to find it eventually, and you're going to want to do the same thing, but it's going to be, like, days past, and they're not even going to know it happened.
Right, yeah. So, again, same thing with kids. If, I don't know, you've got older kids, they're bringing home, like, cigarettes or jewels or whatever.
Jewels? Oh,
Jewels. Not crystals.
I'm 30, so I thought she meant like a gemstone. I was like, why is that bad?
Unfortunately,
they rob a jewelry store?
If they rob a jewelry store, you shouldn't spank them, but you should.
You can send them to jail.
You should send them to jail. Yeah, if you're just so angry they can't even talk to you about it, even if they are just making like bad excuses,
that's a good point. If you're so angry you
try to hide it
can't
better.
think or you can't speak,
yeah,
like don't try to punish somebody if you can't even fathom like what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Funny story about when I was a kid and I didn't get spanked, and I think I should have. One time I was in my room and my dad was home, and it was just me and my dad, and I don't know where my mom was, but she probably would have helped.
She was at the shaman.
Probably. And I was in my room and I was playing with my Barbie dolls, but I didn't really like Barbie dolls, so I only had like a couple. And I brought one out of the box, and I cut all her hair off. And I was so upset that she didn't have any more hair, so I cut my own hair off. And I had like two... my hair was always really short as a kid because I would get like shit in it and my parents didn't want to deal with it, and my dad was the one that was like getting me ready for things a lot, so it was cut really short. So there were these two tiny little pigtails that were like a couple inches like off of my head, like very tiny pigtails, and I just cut one of them off, and then I think I like either brought it to my dad. No, that's what I just like sat there, and then I was like, okay, whatever, and then I got like ADHD somewhere else. And when my mom came in, she came into my room, picked me up, brought me to my dad, and said, "What's wrong?" And
what's wrong with this picture?
And I only had one ponytail, and my mom was so mad, and my dad was so stressed because he was responsible.
It sounds like she wanted to corporal punish your dad more than you in that moment.
And so then that's when I got my first boy haircut. I had so many boy haircuts over my life, and that was when I got my first one.
Did you have bangs?
Probably. And it was stressful, and my mom hated it.
Oh, I love your childhood.
But I did not get a spanking because we had to go straight to the salon.
Because it was your dad's fault.
Because it was my dad's fault.
Yeah. Look at your relationship. When should you be spanking your child, and when should you be spanking your significant other?
Whose fault is it really?
Also, one more thing, and then I'll be done. I promise.
I had scissors. I was like 3.
Well, he was really in trouble. I think now that we're learning more about spanking like can have actual side effects and at the best just not even help do anything, I think it's important for like our generation to stop that so it doesn't just like continue. Like, well, my parents spanked me, so I'm going to spank my kids.
And to like stand up to our parents. Because I know for a fact that my mom's going to say, like, if I have a bad kid, well, have you tried spanking? Do you want do you want me to buy you a spoon?
Yes. Yeah, my mom's asked about will I let the principal spank them?
Yeah. And like my mom being a principal has asked me, and I've always said yes. And in the past couple years we haven't had that conversation, so it's not been a big deal, but now I'm like, probably not.
I would say no because if I were to spank them, I definitely wouldn't want someone else to do it. Yeah. Like, yeah, so I would say no.
Thank you for bringing this up, Molly.
Of course.
This was a good topic. I enjoyed that. I need to go to therapy.
Yeah, I think that's...
I'll tell y'all later.
Okay. Any final thoughts from either of you guys? No Molly, no Laura. All right, well, thank you for listening to this episode once again. If you want to hear any more, of course, as always, you can check us out at your usual listening places, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. Leave us a comment or a review or, whatever. Download us, yes, on iTunes. That's what they count. Whatever will help us out on those places. And if you want to let us know, what was the first thing? Oh, what you would do if you found $100,000. Or if you plan on spanking your children or your, experience being spanked or not.
If you're a parent, I would like to know your...
Yeah, that too. Definitely.
Interests.
Definitely. You can email us at ourthreecentspod@gmail.com or hit us over on Twitter at ourthreecentspod. Follow us there, get updates for new episodes. Do we want to say that other thing about our schedule?
You can, yeah. I mean, It's happening now.
Okay. We are going to start doing every other week instead of weekly, just because Molly and I start new jobs, weird schedule. My whole job has weird hours. So we're going to have to be recording on the weekends, which we all also have lots of travel plans very often. So we're
just doing this so it's not every other week we're saying, oh, we're going to skip this week.
Right.
Oh, we're doing
it intentionally instead of accidentally.
We're just pre-thinking of our own faults.
Yes.
And hoping that y'all will understand. And hoping we can get into like a more regular schedule every other week than it just being every other week, because we're bad at this.
Right. And because that allows us to put episodes kind of on hold, so in case we had to miss this week for whatever reason. Oh, well, now someone's sick, so we can't do. So we're going to have to miss 2 weeks in a row, so we can kind of build up that little buffer of episodes.
Yes.
So
we're doing this for y'all. Be thankful.
Definitely for y'all, not us. So we are going to just do every other Thursday. We want to keep doing Thursday. I've kind of mentally been doing Friday when we were recording closer to Thursday.
Up to you.
But so we'll shoot for every other Thursday. Hopefully nothing will have to change, but if it does, we will let you know on Twitter. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod for letting us use his song Digital Lemonade as the intro and outro to our podcast. And as always, I'm Bailey.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Molly.
And this has been Our 3 Cents. Bye.
Wow.
Say bye.
Bye. I wish I had known we were doing that. Goodbye.
I've done it every week. I've done it every week for a good amount of weeks now.
Well, I remembered to do it, but I thought you said you didn't care about us saying it all at the same time.
Oh, I was already starting to say it because I didn't think.
Because you didn't think I was going to say it. Yeah, Molly, you weren't left out. It just, that's how it went. Okay, bye.